reliability. So for reliability for us is really important. We've done a number of research projects where reliability continues to come out on top for service technicians and installers. So we make it a key focus. So first of all, we have less than a 2% return rate on all of our thermostats. Even from the ones that do come back, we test them all, and only about 0.5% have a factory issue. So you should be pretty confident that it's going to work the first time you're installing. If it doesn't, really easy warranty for you guys. Swap it out over the counter at the ADI you bought it from, or wherever you bought it from. They'll handle everything, right? If you're on the job and you need a replacement, or you guys are in Peterborough, you don't want to come into Toronto to get a replacement, we'll do a direct replacement, send you guys a shipping label so there's no charge, and then swap it out for you guys. Second piece to reliability is our requirement for a common wire. So many of the thermostats today, they do require a battery backup. We are hardwired. And because we know that most houses in North America today have 4 wires, we put one of these in every box. It's called a power extender kit. It's a 4 to 5 wire conversion tool. It's basically an adapter, right? So the 4 wires go in here, 5 wires come out, and it actually allows the thermostat to operate as a 5-wire system using 4 wires. It makes that common connection without running a 5th wire. I'll get into wiring on this in more detail. I'll pass this around so you guys can take a look. But a really nice tool that comes in every box and makes retrofits really, really easy. All right, so I said I'm going to talk a lot about these room sensors, right? This is kind of where it all starts. So we have a thermostat located in the central area of the house, does a good job of understanding the temperature in that immediate space, but doesn't do a great job of understanding the temperature across all the different areas of the house, right? Which is why you get those hot and cold spots in the rooms with the big windows, over the garage, and the basement, etc. So what we said is, we have these wireless room sensors. Let's use this technology to place it around the house just to get a better understanding of when to call for heating and when to call for cooling, and then kind of base how the system runs off that, right? Simple idea, but again, really powerful, and it's really allowed us to grow our name in the industry is these right here. So these are the wireless room sensors here. They're sold in packs of 2, and they also come with our flagship top-of-the-line model. Before I get into how these work, there's 3 settings on them. Just a little bit of background so you know what's making them tick. So first of all, they communicate with the thermostat through a 915 megahertz signal. I personally don't think you guys really need to know that or remember that. You just need to know that they're not connected through Wi-Fi, right? And the reason we didn't use Wi-Fi for the stat to sensor communication is because, first of all, if your Wi-Fi goes down, we still want these sensors to communicate. And secondly, if you had the maximum amount of room sensors paired to a thermostat, which is 32, and they were all on Wi-Fi, it's going to skyrocket your customers' data bills, slow down their network, 2 things we don't want to do. So we said, let's use the radio frequency for that communication, right? You have a 5-year battery life on these, so quite long, lasts the length of the warranty, which is what we were aiming for on this. And in terms of location, you have some flexibility. So mounting options, you have a stand like you see here. For a residential application, I really suggest the stands because you can move them around your house, right? I'm a big sports guy, I like watching hockey. When I'm watching hockey in the basement, I just pull this out of the bedroom, bring it into the basement, and then it keeps the basement comfortable while I'm down there. Also staying on kind of location, you do have about a 50-foot range that these can go away from the thermostat. That's what the spec says. I have personally seen it go quite close to 100. Obviously, when you're stretching that range, interference can become more and more likely. So for commercial jobs, if you're trying to go through concrete flooring or concrete walls, you know, some concern there if you're stretching that range. Obviously, can't make any promises unless it's in that 50-foot range, but just know I have stretches. I've seen it.
How many smart sensors can put inside the house with one system?
32.
32?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, quick question.
Yeah.
So just as an example, we've got one up north that we're doing that is all heated floors.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got literally, can you put 2 of these, of these in different parts of the house? Because they've got 2 furnaces?
Yep, 100%.
Okay.
I have that in my house.
And then these won't,
so you just pair one to, like, however many you want to one thermostat, and then they would only communicate to that one thermostat.
So then for the customers,
Mm-hmm.
because some of them are stupid, you just mark the ones that go with which thermostat, so they're
Yeah.
not mixing them up.
You can do that. There is there is a code on the back of the sensor
Yeah,
here.
but they're not gonna look at that.
Agreed. You can give them each a name once you're installing them. You can say the name that they're in and then mark them.
Literally put where they go on them, and they never have to touch them, right?
Yeah,
That's essentially what you want to do. But,
Pretty much, yeah.
okay.
But if you don't want to do that, there is a 4-digit code on here. When you click into the sensor on the thermostat, it says the sensor name and then that 4-digit code. So it's not too hard to
so you
figure
can
out.
name those what you want?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So you can name this bedroom, basement, etc.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Good question. Good question. So then just staying on the slide here. So the top one there, that's kind of the main reason we upgraded these sensors. So we did have a previous version of the sensors which come with the Ecobee 4. Very similar, minus these two features. So the battery life, we improved it. It was 2 years, now it's 5 years. The other is the refresh rate and how often it scans the room. So the previous versions of these, they would scan the room about every 2 minutes, right? Did a really good job for us. Like I said, made a staple in the industry for us. These ones here, they actually scan the room every 5 seconds. So a really big increase, obviously a lot more accurate with temperature and occupancy readings. But the reason we really up that is because eventually we do want to get into whole home automation with your cameras and your light switches and so on and so forth. So for these now to refresh at a 5-second rate, they actually qualify as a security sensor. So therefore we can include that in the home monitoring service that we're able to provide when that time comes.
Cool.
Yeah. Fully backwards and forwards compatible. So if you have a customer that has an old Ecobee, any of the black residential ones, the new room sensors will work with it and vice versa. Finally, improved pet detection. Because we have occupancy sensors built into here, and I'll explain how that works in a second, we can tell the difference between pets and humans. So if you have a dog or a cat walking around your house, it won't trick the system into thinking it's occupied. It'll remain unoccupied. There's about a 6-degree body temperature difference, which is how we can tell the difference. All right, so when you pull this sensor out of the box, you notice that there's a little tab on the back, right?
Mm-hmm.
That tab has a QR code on it, and you need to scan it with the customer's mobile app to connect to the thermostat. I'm going to walk you through that process right now, but just note, we know that process isn't ideal for you guys. The old sensors, all you would have, which are the ones that come with the Ecobee 4, all you'd have to do is pull out the tab. Message would flash on the thermostat saying, it seems you have a room sensor, would you like to pair it? You give it a name and you're done. These ones here,
I'd rather do that.
Would you?
Easier. Yeah. But the chance it ever loses it is way easier to walk them through on the phone how to repair it. Just rescan the damn thing.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That is fair.
So that tab doesn't.
No, it pulls. It does pull out.
So is there another QR code somewhere on that device?
There's an 8-digit code under the battery, which is what you can use to pair it manually.
Leave it on.
You could leave it on. You need to take it out to engage the battery, but then you could just put it back
Stick-
on
just
top of the battery.
Stick it back on the back.
Yeah.
I'd almost rather see the QR code stamped
On
on the
there?
back, right on there.
Yeah.
That's a good suggestion, actually.
Yeah.
For now, it's this way. I don't see it changing in the immediate future, but we are changing it, whereas the sensors that come with the thermostat, they're going to come paired out of the box in about March. That's when you're going to start seeing those rolled out.
Okay.
Yeah, so
But then you've still got to, if you want to add some,
you still have to scan it. But the idea there is the customer will already have a mobile app set up at that point, so it's a lot easier to do it.
Yeah, so they can just do it themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the idea there. So to pair it, just to quickly show you guys, you go onto the main face of the thermostat on your application. The hamburger menu, the main menu in the bottom corner there, the 3 lines, you click into that, you click into sensors, and then if they have sensors paired at the very bottom, it's going to say add sensors. Click that, it's going to ask you which sensor you want to pair. It's going to be the smart sensor. Access to the camera, yes, and then you just scan that QR code. Really easy, really simple. This is how you would enter it in manually. So like I said, underneath the battery, there's an 8-digit code.
Okay, so scan it the first time, and then the second time you can walk them through and just say you have the sensor in your hand, punch the code in, and you're done.
Exactly.
So, yeah, okay. Yeah.
This is also needed if like they change the battery or something like that. You may need to reconnect it. All right, then that's pairing it. Really simple process, but like I said, it's going to be changing in the next couple months where it comes paired out of the box, and the pairing is only going to be needed if you buy additional sensors. Once you've paired it, it's going to default into our first of 3 settings, which is called averaging, which is alluded to up at the top there. So what averaging does is it takes all your sensors into consideration, strictly looking at temperature, and it's going to have the equipment work and heat the space or cool the space until the average between all your room sensors is your set point, right? So I think the best way to understand these is just a quick few examples in my house. I have a sensor in my brother's room and a stat on the main floor. What averaging is going to do is, okay, well, let's say my set point is 22 degrees. Averaging is going to say, okay, because your brother's room is a little bit of a problem area, it's hotter or colder based on the time of the year. Right now it's a little colder. It'll probably get his room to like 21 degrees. Then because his room's a bit colder than the rest of the house, it pulls that main floor up to 23 degrees. And therefore that average between the two of them is my set point of 22, right? Now, that said, with averaging, we know it's not perfect. There are going to be times when you're overheating or overcooling certain portions of the house, but all we're trying to do is remove those large temperature swings. Get them down from 4 to 5 degrees, bring them to a 1 to 2 degrees, make it a little bit more comfortable for everybody in the house, right? Now, that said, because we know it's not perfect, we kind of have a joke about averaging at Ecobee. It's not a great joke, to be honest, but it is a joke, and it's just everybody's equally as uncomfortable, right? Didn't ask for 21, didn't ask for 23, but it's hopefully better than where you're at with those 3-4 degree swings, getting it down to a 1, right? In my brother's room, that's the impact it made. It was literally 3 degrees different from the main floor. We've now got it down to a 1 degree difference. So everyone's a little bit more comfortable, sacrificing a little bit on that main floor because it's a bit warmer, but my brother's room's a lot more comfortable. So that's averaging. That's what it comes with out of the box as soon as you pair a sensor. Then we have a mode called Follow Me, which we call our better. It's kind of a good, better, best scenario. And what Follow Me does is not just look for temperature, but it looks for occupancy as well, right? So the occupancy sensors on the Ecobee, they work in 2 ways. It's all happening at once, but we're looking for motion, like a backyard light or a garage light. Walk by, clicks on, and then infrared, like I talked about. So infrared's to pick up on the body temperature, obviously. That's how we can tell the difference between pets and humans. The other reason we included it is in case, well, not in case, there are plenty of times when you're in the house not moving, right? You're sleeping, you're watching a movie, still want these sensors to pick you up. So what Follow Me does is it literally follows you around the house, right? So again, example in my house, I have a sensor in my brother's room upstairs and a sensor on the main floor built into the stack. So let's say I come home from work tonight, I'm cooking in my kitchen, doing my thing. The stat on the main floor is going to pick me up and say, okay, I see somebody's on the main floor, but I don't see anybody in the rest of the house. Only prioritize bringing the main floor up to my set point. I don't care what it is in the bedroom or in the basement right now because I only see people on the main floor. We want to make sure they're comfortable, right? Then when my brother comes home from school, runs up to his bedroom so he doesn't have to help out with dinner. It's, it's a standard thing for me. It's going to go back into averaging, right? Because he's upstairs. I'm on that main floor. It's got to satisfy both spots, so it's going to average between the two of them. And then when I clean up, we've had dinner, and I'm going up to bed, it's going to go back into Follow Me because now we're both upstairs in our bedrooms. It sees no one else in the rest of the house, so it's going to prioritize hitting set point in that upstairs portion where we're being seen, right? So a really nice tool that kind of allows you to prioritize comfort in the room that are actually being used, and there's no extra work needed for the customer, right? You turn it on and that's it. They're good to go. So averaging good, Follow Me better, and then what we call our best setting is participation. It's mentioned out here. So all participation allows you to do, it kind of works similar to Follow Me, but you can actually manually turn on and off certain sensors to really tailor to certain applications or to your lifestyle, right? So with participation, I think a perfect example is a baby's room. If you have a young child, they're about to take a nap, you say, okay, let's move this sensor from whatever it is, put it in the baby's room for the next 2 to 3 hours, and only focus on that sensor. Turn off all of our other sensors in the house so we make sure that the baby's room is comfortable, right? Same kind of thing goes for a home office. Maybe you're spending 10, 12 hours during the day. At night, not so much, so you ignore it at night. There is one application that's really nice for easy installation. Easy installation both on the commercial side and the residential side. So let's say you're in a home where you can't run wires or you don't want to run wires or whatever the situation may be. What you can do is you can actually wire the thermostat up in the mechanical room or in a mechanical closet, turn off the sensor that's on the stat, and then just have a bunch of these placed around the building or the home to monitor for temperature, right? Best part about that is, as you guys know, they never have to actually go into the mechanical room to touch the thermostat. They can just access it all on their phone, so it's really
So
nice
does
for them.
those do voice?
They don't.
So
You would be losing out on the voice component of it. That's the only downside.
if I get, because I got Alexa,
Mhm.
so I'm gonna say Alexa and it'll control it.
Yeah, exactly. So for you, you could do that, right? Because
Yeah.
mute her for now.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got it exactly. Like you don't need a secondary device. You do have a secondary device, therefore you wouldn't need to talk to the thermostat.
Right.
In a house with zone control heating, I guess you just put in multiple thermostats.
You got it. So thermostat per zone. It would be fantastic if these could control the dampers, but unfortunately, there's no communication there.
Yeah.
Especially with multiple manufacturers, right? It's you work with one and then it won't work for the other type. Good question. So that's averaging fall meet participation. Those three settings there, they're all about improving comfort in the home, not so much focused on energy savings at all. Before I move on from those, any questions on them or how you can apply them? Pretty straightforward. Yeah. So where the energy savings come into play is in the bottom corner there. The first way in which we're going to start saving our homeowners some money is by running their schedule, right? You guys are probably used to this with really any programmable stats or Wi-Fi stats you're using today. Ours comes with a home, sleep, and away out of the box. The nice thing about Ecobee is not only are these settings available, but there's actually a pre-programmed schedule built into the thermostat. It's really simple, so it's not going to affect anyone's life in a negative way. It's 6:30 a.m., I'm in home mode, and then 11:30 p.m., I'm in my sleep mode. The idea there is, again, we're really focused on the energy savings component of it. Our CEO is very environmentally conscious. So to have it built in, we kind of did it so even if the customer never wants to play with their schedule, and even if you guys never want to sit down with the customer and walk through that, they're still going to see some of those energy savings that we're looking to provide, right? So that's the first way. The second way is in your smart home, smart away. And what that is using is, again, they're relying on those room sensors and the occupancy sensors to say I'm either home for now or I'm away for now and condition the house based on that. One thing we don't do that, again, some of our competitors do is that learning your schedule and automatically adjusting your schedule. Honestly, we've tried to do that. We went through a lot of testing on it and we found it pretty difficult. Because people's schedules are dynamic. You know, somebody like me, I'm on the road all the time, I'm traveling all the time. Just because I'm in here at 9 a.m. on this Thursday doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to be out of my house next Thursday at 9 a.m. So for my thermostat to try to learn that, somewhat difficult. So we said we have these occupancy sensor technology. Let's just rely on this to say I'm in the house or I'm not in the house and just condition based on that, right? So if smart home is turned on, what it's going to do is it's going to check your schedule and say, although your schedule says you should be away right now, I see that there are people in the house, automatically push me into my home portion of the schedule and my home temperature to make sure I'm comfortable, make sure I'm not suffering. And vice versa. If smart away is on, we're going to say, look at our schedule. Although it says you should be home right now, I haven't seen anybody in the house for 2 hours. Automatically push them into their away comfort setting. Make sure we're saving the homeowner some money bringing that equipment into the setback. One thing I forgot to note on the scheduling portion, so where the efficiencies start getting built up is in your away and in your sleep mode when we're bringing the system into a setback. With Ecobee, it's about 2 degrees out of the box. That can be edited and changed to whatever you guys like. That is the standard schedule. And then with Smart Home, Smart Away, your setback only comes back so far that the equipment can recover or the temperature can recover to the set point within 30 minutes of somebody coming home. Just because your schedule says you're home, we're not 100% sure of when you're coming home next. So therefore, we're not comfortable with bringing it back so far that it takes that 2 hours to recover, right? This is a learning component of the stat as well. So maybe in month 1, we're going to be conservative and only bring it back half a degree or 1 degree. And then in month 3 or 4, we're going to say, okay, we know how long it takes to heat and cool the space now. Let's bring it back 2 or 3 degrees, and because we know we can still recover within half an hour. Save a few extra bucks.
So, if you have a wood stove,
Mm-hmm.
is that going to affect it at all?
I mean, it will, yeah,
Okay.
for sure, because it's going to help it heat the space a lot quicker.
Yeah, but it'll still kind of say, okay, it's like it's colder upstairs, so focus on upstairs rather than the main floor. That's getting most of the heat from the wood stove.
100%, yeah.
Okay.
So in that situation, if you have a wood stove, what I would personally do is I'd maybe put the sensors upstairs.
Yeah.
And I pretty much only ask the thermostat to focus on the upstairs, because you can say ignore the main floor because it's getting heated by the wood stove.
Yeah.
And just focus
And
on the temperature.
That's on the main floor, right?
Exactly. So you could, well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You could just turn this off, the sensor on this off,
Okay.
and then it would only focus on this one upstairs because the wood stove is doing a lot of the heating downstairs.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
But that stuff the thermostat will also take into consideration, right? It's not going to know you have a wood stove going, but it's going to know, oh, the main floor gets heated up pretty quickly. This is how we can step back. This is how we can schedule. So those 2 energy savings features, they see our customers save about 23% on their average heating and cooling costs annually. That is compared to a 22-degree hold. So the reason we use that as a benchmark is because about 80 to 85% of programmable stats aren't actually programmed. They're just set to a hold and left there. So we use that as a benchmark for our energy reporting. This means the thermostat pays for itself in about 1.5 years, 2 years, depending on how you use the stat, of course. If you set it to a hold, it's not going to see the energy savings that we're projecting here. That said, our energy savings numbers should be and will be increasing in the near future because we just launched this program called Eco Plus. So Eco Plus is an advanced energy savings program that's now built into all the thermostats. There are about 5 settings in here, and again, they're all just focused on your energy savings. So there's an advanced Smart Home, Smart Away, which just allows the equipment to go into that smart home or smart away mode a lot quicker than that 2 hours that I mentioned. That's, again, another learning feature, so it starts to understand your schedule a little bit more and says, okay, for example, my house. I live in a house of 5. We all have very different jobs and lives. My sister's a hairdresser. I'm doing this. My brother's a student, so we're all in and out of the house at very different times. So we were never getting into that smart home and smart away mode with that 2 hours. Now, with the advanced one, we are getting into that and seeing some additional energy savings. The next setting there's a feels like setting. It's a humidity optimization setting. Works a lot with bringing in fresh air and works a lot off the outdoor weather. There's a learning your schedule feature, which I just said we don't do that. We do that in Eco Plus, but we don't automatically change the schedule. All that's going to do is provide suggestions on how you can start seeing some more energy savings if you tweak your schedule in a certain way. The last 2 that are on here is an energy demand response program and a time of use program. So built into the thermostat, we have partnerships with all the major utilities across North America. And because of that, we can understand utility rates in certain areas and then tell the thermostat to preheat or pre-cool based on demand rate times, right? So if it's more expensive to run your heating between 12 and 1, and it's less expensive to run it between 11 and 12, we're going to say, okay, let's maybe go 1 degree past your set point from 11 to 12, so we're not having to heat at all between that 12 to 1 period where it's more.
You lock that, right?
100%.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
The kids are home, they don't want to touch it.
Oh, no, I get it, trust me. Eco Plus, like I said, comes with every thermostat, but in our testing so far and in the actual field work, it's been in the field for about 2-3 months now, we're seeing about 6% additional energy savings. You have a slider here, which you can go from 1 to 15%, so it makes it really easy for the customer to understand what they're doing. In my house, I played around with it. If you go from like 1 to 5 additional energy savings, you're not going to notice a difference at all. Anything more than that, you'll start noticing your temperature changing a little bit more, being a little bit more conservative on the heating and cooling costs. Questions on Eco Plus? Cool. All right, like it says up the top there, we do give you the ability to monitor and control these thermostats from anywhere at any time, whether you're using the phone, the computer / tablet. There's even apps for the wearables like your Apple Watch and your Samsung Watch. Obviously limited functionality there. You can basically just turn up and down the temperature. But there's just a couple things to note on this slide. First of all, consistent user interface. So whichever device you're using, there's not much of a learning curve. Obviously, on the larger screens, you have a few more options rather than having a main menu and then seeing the options. But the face of the thermostat stays consistent, right? I need to turn off the That's too bad. All right, couple things to note on this slide as well. So there are certain settings that are available for certain devices. Number one, installation settings. We're talking about staging on your equipment, and the advanced settings really, those are strictly available on the thermostat. Reason we did that is because honestly we don't want homeowners playing around with them. We figured, if it's on their cell phone, they're going to be having a glass of wine on a Friday night, sitting on their couch, and be like, oh, I haven't checked out my Ecobee app in a while. Go through, make a change to one of the settings, and then something goes wrong and they're having to call an HVAC tech or you guys into the house. So that's one. Number two, the Home IQ feature, that free reporting, strictly available on the larger screens, so tablets and your laptops, right? So as you can see here, there are a number of graphs, a bunch of data in here that is just a little bit hard to read on your phone or on the thermostat, sorry. So we said large screens only for Home IQ. Now in Home IQ, there are about 12 to 15 reports in here. I'm not going to go into detail on all of them because they're definitely more homeowner facing, but I definitely encourage you guys to go through it once you do have the stat just to know what we're doing or what the thermostat's capable of. But touch on a few of them. This is, for me, the most important one here. It's called your systems monitor, and it basically collects runtime for each piece of equipment. So in this example here, we have your first stage of heating, your second stage of heating, your emergency heat, your heat pump, and then you have your fan and your humidifier, runtime for each of them. It then compares it at the bottom to your indoor and outdoor temperature and your desired set point. So a great place for the homeowners that don't really know much about HVAC to come in here, take a look and say, this is how the weather is impacting my equipment. But more importantly, if they ever get an alert, high temperature, low humidity, or whatever it may be, at least they can come in here, check and say, is my equipment running? Yes or no? Or did my kid leave the back door open for the last 3 hours and that's why it's colder in my house, right?
So it gives you notifications?
It does, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool, so if you got a Fitbit on it, your phone should send you notification on it?
We send email notifications. Do Fitbits get any email notifications?
It notifies you when you have an email,
Yeah,
or
so,
a text or whatever, right?
So yes, you would.
Yeah, because then you go, oh, yeah, and then grab your phone and look at it.
100%.
Yeah. Perfect.
We're working on push notifications from the application as well, but right now the alerts come through email. Which, to be honest, for me, I like that better. I'm actually going to check an email and it gives you like an explanation of the alert. Push notifications, sometimes I personally ignore them. The one on the far side there, I call it a little bit more of a fun report. It's called Community Comparisons. It compares your home to other homes in the area in terms of energy savings, and that report there will also provide suggestions on how you can get closer to the average. And then the last one that's not on here, it's probably my favorite report, and it's called the Runtime Report. The reason I say it's my favorite is because it simply spits out how many dollars you've saved since you started using Ecobee. It'll also show you how many runtime hours you've saved since you started using Ecobee. You can break it down month by month, year over year. So a really nice feature. That's half the reason people are buying these Wi-Fi thermostats is so they can see those energy savings and stats paying for itself. All right, so far we've gone through 3 of my 4 selling points. Number 1 is how we can improve comfort in the home using that averaging, follow me, and participation. Number 2 is how we can save the homeowner some money using your schedule, Smart Home, Smart Away, and then that Eco Plus Advanced Energy Savings Program. Third is the ability to monitor and control from anywhere at any time. I forgot to mention one thing actually. On this, there is a parallel for you guys, right? I said that earlier. It's called the Contractor Portal. Basically what the Contractor Portal allows you to do is monitor your customers' thermostats, right? So, reason I say it's a parallel is because the first benefit of the portal, and the first feature, is you get a 3-day report, very much like this one, for your customers' thermostats. So even if they call you guys and say something's going on with the thermostat, at least you can come in here, take a look, and say, first of all, is it online anymore, or did something drop off? Or how is the equipment running? Is the equipment running? So on and so forth. I don't know if you guys are looking for service calls like that, because it's a lot to do with the HVAC equipment, but that is one component that's built in.
You at least tell them it looks like an HVAC problem.
Exactly, right? Like the
Yeah.
thermostat seems like it's working fine, but I can see on the report here that your furnace hasn't ran for the last 3 hours. It's something to do with the HVAC equipment, exactly.
Yeah.
So they do have to opt into that for them to grant access to the reporting. And again, it's 3 days of reporting just because of privacy reasons, right? If we gave any more than that, you'd understand schedules, when they're home, when they're not.
Yeah,
You can't do that, obviously.
No.
So that's one. The next component, and I think this is the biggest one, even for you guys, is you have the ability to save your company information on their thermostat. So basically, when you sign up with the portal, you input your company information, and then you input the serial numbers off the bottom of the boxes. And then as soon as those thermostats are installed and hooked up to Wi-Fi, your information will automatically be pushed into that thermostat. So what that means is, number one, whenever they get alerts, it'll say high temperature alert, contact your contractor at this number, at this email. You guys will get that alert as well, so if they don't call you, you can call them. And then you also have the ability to actually push out kind of like service reminders to your customers. Again, I don't know if that's relevant for you guys because it's typically servicing the HVAC equipment, but you can still, I think, spin it in the right way, right? Where you can push out this service reminder and you can go in there and service maybe other equipment that you have in the house.
Change your filter.
Yeah, exactly. No, seriously.
Yeah.
So I just want to know, because I had the original one.
Yeah,
So with the new one, does it still send the reminders, change the filters?
it does, yes.
Okay. That's the most important thing, because I went to one of my clients with delivery. He's a smart guy making money, but when it comes to his house and technology, so I walked in, I'm like, what's a weird smell in his house? Went downstairs, and I thought that for 2 years they never changed the filter, right?
Yeah.
So he's willing to pay people to manage his house or business. So as long as, we can send alerts for the case, change the filter.
For sure.
Because I do work with the HVAC guy. I
Perfect.
just call him up and say, hey, listen, I got a service call for you. We'll deal with that. Right?
I was going to ask that actually, if you guys do have partnerships with HVAC contractors or electricians, so on and so forth.
Brother's electrician, guy's a handyman. I got a HVAC guy on the alert. I got a AC guy on the side.
There you
I
go.
got everyone on the side.
There you go. So yeah, that could kind of be a perfect mix of both worlds, right? So yeah, you have the ability to, I'll go into the settings when I go through the simulator and I'll show you how to set those reminders for them. But you can push out service reminders. It'll show your company name and your logo. So I think it's a pretty cool offering and it is free. And then the last benefit of the contractor portal is you can just input customer information too, right? So you can say address, phone number, email, what's their name, so on and so forth, right? Kind of a central database to manage all your Ecobee customers. There's even a map on there, so you see all your customers that pop up as dots. You can plan out your day that way, right? If you're going to be in a certain area, you can actually select the customers in that area and push out a notification saying, service reminder, I'm going to be in the area. Can I come in and change your filter? Can I come in and, I don't know, change all the smart lighting that you guys may have? Something along those lines. Okay, so those are my first three: improving comfort, saving the homeowner money, monitoring and controlling whether you're the homeowner or the installer and technicians. And then our fourth is our smart home integration, right? So I'm preaching to the choir on this one. Market opportunity here is obviously tremendous, and that's why we focus on it, even being traditionally an HVAC product. We noticed that the smart thermostat traditionally has given us a unique opportunity because it's in the house so early. About 35% of the time, it's the first smart device in the house minus your phone. So knowing that, we said, you know what, we have an opportunity to actually use the thermostat as the hub to the smart home, which is why we worked with Amazon to build Alexa right into it, right?
Will it play music too?
It will. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's actually the first third-party device in the world to have the exact same functionality as actual Amazon devices, which is really exciting for us. So I'll go into it in more detail, but you can, play your music, make phone calls, all those those bells and whistles.
So literally, you can, if you're close to that, you can literally talk to it and do whatever you've got set up on Alexa in your house.
Correct.
Cool. So we'll start my truck.
Yes. It will. Yeah. That said,
Lazy ass bastard. Get your ass off the couch. Walk out there, brush the snow off, and start your truck.
No. No. I gotta set to do a routine, man. It makes the coffee.
Does it?
Everything. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I love
Plays
that.
plays the radio to wake me up.
Yeah, there you go. It's not bad.
Yeah. Huge fan.
That's why you're on time all the time.
Yep.
Because he's said a quick word. And he's there.
I'm always early.
He's early.
There you go. That's why. Because you don't have to worry about that stuff.
Yeah.
That's really cool, actually. I kind of I tell a story again, preaching to the choir. When I'm telling the HVAC guys that you can do all this off the thermostat, their minds are blown, right? But you guys all get it, I know.
Like that's cool. So
For
that
sure.
saves you putting that wherever you have that, whether it's hallway or
Yeah, like upstairs.
living room wall or whatever. That saves you buying another Amazon device for that room, right?
Exactly.
So that's
Exactly.
cool.
Now, because we have Alexa built in, we can still work with all these other home assistants, right, out of the box. So it works with Google Home, Apple HomeKit, Samsung SmartThings, if this and that, and a number of other ones. So if you guys are into the Control4s, the Savants, and the Elans of the world, direct integrations with those already. I've seen a few of them, and they're really good, actually. The face of the thermostat's right there on the automation system. So I've been pretty happy with, investigating this space over the last little bit. Like I said earlier, we're constantly working on more and more and more integrations. Like I said, Alarm.com is one that's top of mind. We're working with Latch right now on an integration with them, and another one that's top of mind is One Valet. I don't know if you guys know One Valet. It's more of a condo-focused automation where they can have their phone to scan in to get into the building along those lines. So if you're working on jobs and you have direct questions about specific ones, just ask me and I'll look into it if I don't know already. To touch on Amazon a little bit more, we kind of talked about what I mentioned, but over 50,000 skills you can do with them. Only third-party device in the world.
Quick question.
Yeah.
What does, because we're up north,
Mm-hmm.
what does it need for, upload, download?
In terms of megabytes, like how much it uses, tiny amount.
Okay.
Minuscule, yeah. You won't even notice it on your data charges on your.
Perfect.
Yeah.
There's some things require a certain amount of up to be able to send out or whatever. But,
No, yeah.
so it's very minimal.
Very minimal.
Very
And the new thermostats, this one here, the smart thermostat, people call it the Ecobee 5 as well. It's called the Ecobee smart thermostat. It can go 2.4 and 5G networks. So you do have options there as well. Yes.
Can you go back one slide?
Yeah.
Yeah, he want.
I don't understand. What was that? IFTTT.
Oh,
what's
so
that?
it's a program called If This Then That, and it basically allows you to set up rules, right? So if you're familiar with Amazon, you can create routines where you say, Alexa, it's movie time, and then maybe your lights dim, and the movie turns to the TV and goes to a movie, right, or Netflix, right? That's the same type of thing. You can create rules within your house. So if you have a smart garage door opener, you can say something like, when my garage door opens, automatically turn my thermostat to temperature. You create rules for the different programs you have in your house.
It's like a scene, right?
Yeah, it's very similar to a scene, exactly.
Well, you can do, activities, you have the Harmony, you can literally just say, watch TV, and it turns literally everything on, and puts the lights the way you want it and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's
Won't
kind
make your popcorn, though.
Basically, because I do though, because
Yeah.
Rusty, I'm an IT guy. So when you're creating scenes, it's a good thing because right now what's happening in my house is that because I'm testing this myself. So anytime I leave my house, my phone sends an alert back to my iPad or whatever device I have at home. Says, okay, I'm away. This thing should be off. This should be on. If my kids enter this room, alert me. It's just basically my rules are set up. By default, if I want to be crazy, then I would have gone to the app and be right. But this is more like you're actually creating the rules you want. So it's not something like it takes 5 minutes. This will take you a little time because you got to go through consent. So if you're home at this time, this if you see my phone come in to this range, what do you need to do? Do you turn on the heat? Do you turn on the lights? Open the garage? So there's so much stuff that you can do. So it's not only like, so if someone says to you, oh, no, you only can get this system to do all this. No. What that means that, it's basically you can create as much rules you want, and it's whatever is comfortable for you. And it's easy to manage, right? Like, with my wife and my family, they're literally like, rely on me for technology. So in my house, I have smart lighting, so I give them the smaller remote, and if they click on that one remote, it turns on this section of the house. Click on that, so they don't have to worry about the programming. It's for them right there, done.
To make life easier.
So that's what you use.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what.
But that work with alarm, like you can set a
Yeah.
turn on alarm and turn off.
I think certain alarms. I'm not 100% sure. I can look into that.
Yeah,
you guys,
so-
maybe you guys would know.
So the Honeywell systems work with that pretty well. Like I have the Honeywell alarm system. I have a different kind of stuff, and it works. As I'm saying, it works with it. So when I'm away, when it detects there's no movements in my house. So when my dad's phone, my wife's phone, everyone's phones in my house are not in the home, then the alarm goes fully armed.
Right.
If by chance someone forgot to put it on. So there's so many rules you can do on that, right?
But like you can use that.
Yeah, the thermostat,
controller?
like right now, like I tested different thermostats. So the thermostat that I've tested out, like it doesn't even, so the thermostats I test out are not the actual real ones in my house, because if I start playing with that, my mom will freak out, my dad will freak out. I tested out, so therefore, once I know it's working fine, then I implement it to my house, and then they can play with it. That's it. So usually I get my buddy who has a cottage. I just pick up his cottage, drop it in there, and I play with it. And so the cottage thinks that it's my house. So and that's where you can do it, right? And it's a good feature, and it's easier. And so you don't have to like be a rocket scientist, right, to create this thing. It's so simple. Like my family are all iPhones. My other family friends, they're Samsung. So this is a universal tool that works with anything. You can have mixed iPhones, Samsung, Android. So this is a good tool to have.
But for you guys, probably easier. But for normal people,
No,
probably
it's pretty easy. Once someone sets up, you're good with it.
Yeah, like I mean, I think even a lot of homeowners use it this and that and create their own rules. It is, from my understanding, a pretty easy solution. I don't personally have it, but I've played around with it a number of times, and yeah, you can. I don't know exactly. I can look into what alarm systems work with it for you and let you know. But with an alarm system, you can set something up like that. If you see that nobody's in the house, automatically lock my front door and turn on the alarm system. That's the type of rules that you can create with that program.
nice.
Yeah.
As soon as you guys get the alarm.com working, it won't matter. You'll be able to do whatever you
Whatever.
want. So, yeah.
So this is me learning. So does alarm.com integrate with basically any alarm system? Is that the idea behind it, or do they have their own?
They have a few, integrated alarm system.
They're like the Rogers. So
Yeah.
Rogers thinks that they can do everything,
Yeah.
but they have third parties to do other things. That's what it is.
Okay.
So that's what alarm is. It's basically instead of going to company A, you go to alarmnet.com. They manage all the infrastructure, and then from there you choose if you want to be self-monitored or you want to monitor companies. So that's the dealer's responsibility to do all that.
Okay.
Alarm.com just build a platform.
And you just pay them.
To pull things in.
Yeah.
Well, you can literally log in and not even have to go on the service call and fix it from your computer.
On everything. Huh?
Yeah, so with some stuff, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. As long as it's not just changing a battery.
Yeah, that one kind of need to be on site for that one.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's good to know. Thanks for saying that. So I'll just test Alexa so you guys can hear the sound quality of the speaker. Does anybody have a favorite band or type of music or anything like that?
I just always tell her to play Sirius XM.
Okay. I don't think I have the Sirius XM skill turned on, but Alexa, play top 40 music.
The playlist, top 50 most played on Amazon Music. We go together. Better than birds of a feather, you and
So I'm not gonna
me.
blow the doors off your next, little get together or house party, but folding laundry, doing dishes, not bad. Yeah.
It's pissing my dad off because I set it all up. And I can literally walk into his house and say, Alexa, honey, I'm home. And it'd go, awesome, playing Sirius XM. And it'd go on this every radio we had in his house.
Alexa, stop.
Drove him nuts.
Oh yeah, it's unreal. Like you were saying, you could also have the ability to hook it up to other speakers, right? So other
Yeah.
Alexa devices, of course. Other Alexa devices, Bluetooth speakers for the Ecobee smart thermostat,
Yeah.
even Wi-Fi speakers like your Sonos and things like that. So you do have the ability.
So now it's closer when I walk in.
Exactly. Here's your quick.
Yeah.
All right. So, any more questions on Alexa? I know this is easy stuff for you guys. You guys deal with this all the time. Nothing on that
Pretty
front.
cool. Yeah.
Cool. Good to hear. All right. So, just some specs quickly. So, this is the Ecobee Smart Thermostat. This is our flagship model. We do sell in big box stores. We do a really, in my opinion, a really good job, and I personally try really hard to ensure that the pricing and distribution leaves enough room for you guys to make some margin on these products. So $329 in retail. 2 heat, 2 cool with your conventional equipment, so your boilers and your forced air furnaces. 4 heat, 2 cool on heat pumps. Emergency heat is the extra stages of heating. These thermostats, the smart thermostat, does have the ability to control an accessory. So on the back plate here, you'll notice ACC plus and ACC minus. That's where you can run a humidifier, dehumidifier, HRV, or ERV, one of the 4. Right? This comes with a 5-year warranty, like we talked about. Big box is 3-year warranty. Has Alexa built into it, and then comes with one of those smart sensors in the box, but you can pair up to 32 of them. This is my least favorite slide in the presentation because I'm selling the new smart thermostat and we give away Ecobee 4s for the training. But these are just the few features that differ from the 4 to the new one, the smart thermostat. So first of all, the Alexa.
So you have to scan this?
No.
Oh, okay. I saw the barcode.
No, not at all. So the Alexa, there's 2 features which we don't have on the Ecobee 4, which you do have on the Ecobee Smart Thermostat. Number 1 is hands-free calling. You won't be able to make calls off the stat. And number 2 is Alexa to Alexa communication in terms of like the intercom feature, right? If you can't do that on the Ecobee 4, you can do that on the Ecobee Smart Thermostat. Spotify, there's a direct Spotify integration on the new one. On the Ecobee 4, there is not. And then Bluetooth. So that's probably the feature that people want the most. You cannot hook the Ecobee 4 into Bluetooth speakers. It has to be Wi-Fi speakers like Sonos. The new one can do both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth.
Cool.
Yeah. Then you have the Ecobee 3 Lite. This is more of our starter package for those customers that still want that Wi-Fi control. They have separate voice assistants in their house already. They don't need Alexa built into the stack. And then just kind of like their entry level, right? There's about $100 difference between this one and the top of the line one. So $219 retail versus $329.
Well, when do they sell at Costco?
The 4. So they don't. So Costco, quick story, backstory on Costco. We all know what Costco does. They're low price, and that's what they do, right? So they had
$249 or something like
they
that.
had access to our current product. They kept dropping below the MAP pricing that we set. So we took away current product for them. They only have access to Ecobee 4. Once they're out of that inventory, they won't have access to Ecobee anymore.
Yeah, they still got a lot left.
Yeah, they definitely do. They definitely do. But that's kind of how we're dealing with it. We know it's not ideal. They were kind of ruining the market, so we've taken them out, only given them old product, and then this way it's kind of separate. All right, so 3 Lite, same compatibility with the equipment, 2 heat, 2 cool for your conventional equipment, 4 heat, 2 cool on your heat pumps. Where this differs and where that $100 difference is made up is number 1, in the not having Alexa built in. Still can control it with all those same programs we talked about, just doesn't have it built in. Does not come with a room sensor in the box, but you can still buy them separately in 2 packs, up to 32 of them. And then does not have the ability to control an accessory like the humidifiers or the HRVs. Those are the three differences in the Ecobee 3 Lite to the Ecobee Smart Thermostat. Then, just to switch gears a little bit, this is our commercial thermostat. So this is this one here. I'll pass it around so you guys can take a look. A few reasons we designate it as our commercial thermostat. Number one, It is a hard plastic screen, whereas both of these have glass screens, so a little less chance of it breaking. Number two, it's our only thermostat that can accept wired sensors. In the commercial space, as you guys know that are working there, a lot of these buildings, a lot of these older buildings, they do have thermostats or wired sensors in place already. So we said, let's have this option so you can just hook that into the current system that you have, right? So 2 heat, 2 cool on the conventional, 3 heat, 2 cool on heat pumps for this one. This thermostat comes with a 3-year warranty only because it's not sold in big box stores. It's only sold in our distribution channels, so this and HVAC. If ADI isn't stocking them on the shelves, you can ask for them on special request, and they do have access to them, so you just may not see them in the store. Like I said, there's wireless or wired room sensor technology that you can hook into here. So Type 2 10K sensors is the compatibility. We typically suggest Honeywell and Tecmar. Those are the two most popular for temperature sensing. Another really unique thing about this thermostat is you can actually build a little bit of an automation tree or rules using the thermostat only, right? So some of the more popular ones are maybe hooking up like a door and window contact, where you can say, if excuse me, if the door or window opens, turn off the HVAC equipment. Perfect example of that is Adidas. Adidas uses us in all their corporately owned stores in the US. They had a problem where employees were opening the overhead door, leaving it open, and just blasting the AC, right? So what they did is sensor on the door. If the door is open for longer than 5 minutes, automatically turn off the AC. So you can do that. Another one's like a fridge or freezer at a restaurant. If the temperature in the fridge or the freezer drops below a certain set point, send a notification to the administrator, let them know the temperature is dropping. This way they can get it serviced. They're not losing out on all that stuff. You do the same thing with fire sensors. So if the fire sensor gets triggered, or that type of sensor, it sends an alert to the thermostat saying, there's a fire in the building, turn off the HVAC equipment so we're not running the fan and spreading the fire, right? So that's where this thermostat is unique. You can create those automation rules right in the stat. It comes with it. In addition to that, this thermostat here must be paired with that commercial smart buildings portal that I mentioned at the very beginning, right? So unlike these two residential thermostats, they come with a free residential portal. This one must be paired with our commercial portal for that remote access. The cost is $30 per year per thermostat. If you go for longer, it's obviously going to become less and less and less. We have a 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year subscription. The longer you go, the less the cost is annually. Now, to just touch on smart buildings really quickly, the reason we saw such a great opportunity is because there's a very nice middle ground between throwing a stat on the wall, putting a lockbox on it, and calling it a day, and building automation where you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. We know there's a nice middle ground there. And because HVAC takes up about close to 50% of energy consumption in the commercial and multifamily space, we realize there's a big opportunity, and this is the market that we're going after.
We need this up when we were yesterday. We're dying. It's so hot.
Was it?
Oh, it's.
What type of job was it?
It was like we rewired a whole office.
Oh, okay.
But it was horrible. Like we were dying.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You got an office full of women.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, those are perfect applications. We've really done well in restaurants, like I talked about earlier. We work with Recipe or Care Foods. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. They own like the Montanas, Harveys, things like that. They use Ecobees in all their buildings now. We've done well in churches, really well, because they're unoccupied for such long periods of time. Retail stores, gas stations, we've done extremely well because they all have a walk-in freezer, fridge, and somebody can sit in an office and control hundreds of thousands of gas stations. So that's the market we're going after here. One quick thing on this, although it has to be paired with the commercial thermostat to get that remote control, you can include the residential thermostats in the smart buildings portal. There is still a fee when you include the residential thermostats in here, but our thinking there is, first of all, multifamily, right? Like I'm working on a job in Saskatchewan right now. We just got it. 150 stats. Right now, they're literally going around to all of them, turning them up and down when tenants are moving in and out. This way, somebody's sitting in Alberta, controlling them all in Saskatchewan, right?
Nice.
Yeah. And then even front of the house, back of the house situation for a restaurant. Commercial thermostats in the back with the freezers and the fridges. Residential thermostats in the front because they want it to look a little nicer, a little more pretty, right? So that's the mix and match. Mix and match.
Hotter in the back than it is in the front.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so if there's customers of yours that are interested in the Smart Buildings portal, you have a few options. Number one, I'm happy to come out and visit your customers with you guys if you'd like. We can do remote demonstrations of the Smart Buildings portal if we need to. I can also grant you guys access to our dummy account, so you guys can take a look and show it off to customers as well. So just let me know if this is of interest, and I can help you out in all of this. Okay, now transitioning to the installation portion. So this is kind of what's in the box. I'm just going to go through this quickly. You guys have pretty much seen everything already. You have the thermostat. We have the room sensor in the box with 2 mounting options. You have the stand and then the wall mount. Thermostat backplate, installation manuals, wire labels. They're all in a cardboard cutout that comes in the box.
Oh, you can wall mount it.
You can, yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
So if you see it here, that's how the wall mount will look.
Oh, I just thought it was like stuck there.
Yeah, that's the wall mount there. There's a wall mount comes in this bag. There's
Okay.
also drywall plugs and screws in each bag.
Perfect. Cool.
Power extender kit, that's that adapter, comes in every box. And then the trim plate. Trim plate's just to cover the holes of the old thermostats. You can paint that. I've seen it painted on a number of occasions if the customer wants it the same color as the wall.
What color is it?
White.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, to go into wiring. So with Ecobee, and I'll send you guys a follow-up training package so you'll have all this stuff in there, but this is the wiring process. So with Ecobee, one thing to note, which you guys may be used to that is different. If you have one R wire, you're always running it to RC. You're never running it to RH only. Never with Ecobee. If you have 2 R wires like we do with the boiler over there, you're going to run one into each, of course. But if not, 1 R wire, RC only every time. Other than that, it's conventional wiring, exactly what you're used to.
Okay. So this will work for where he's got 2 boilers and literally everything before.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was cool.
Just with boilers, you have to make sure that you have a common wire, you have a common connection, right? That's the only thing to know.
Yeah. Well, you didn't even want AC. They made them, the HVAC guy made them for AC.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, he didn't want it. Yeah.
And it's just a residential home?
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
cottage, but it's huge. Yeah.
I mean, AC is probably a good idea, right? Like, especially if you spend a lot of time in the summer up there.
Yeah. Well, and then he can control it and do what he wants to do as he's on his way up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So any more questions here? Again, I'll send this all to you. Nothing here? Okay. Heat pump, same thing. So one R wire, RC only. Other than that, it's conventional, what you guys are used to.
Yeah.
Now, this is where it definitely does change. So that's when you have to use the power extender kit. You have 4 wires in the home. You need that 5th wire, so you use the power extender kit. I don't love
the old one there uses a 5th wire too, right?
Yeah, that one does.
Okay.
There's a different power extender kit for that one. It doesn't come in the box. It's purchased separately.
Yeah.
Just something to know. Don't love this picture because it looks like the power extender kit goes at the thermostat. It does not go at the thermostat. It goes at the equipment. So in the furnace or at the boiler or wherever. I'm sorry, the air handler, wherever. Wired up at the equipment. Just go off the corresponding terminals, right? They're all labeled. You pull out the 4 wires that are labeled. These wires, put them in here. Then they're all color coded. They all have letters on them too. These are just my training units. They rubbed off after doing hundreds of these. Then you go up to the stat. Once you wire this up in the furnace, there's a magnet on the back too. So if you want to just slap it to the furnace jacket, if you can, which is really nice. Then you wire it up like this. So R, you're going to RC, like we do with Ecobee every single time. W, you're going to W1, just standard in general. And then where it changes is when we repurpose the G wire to go to that C terminal, making that common connection. And you repurpose Y to go to my power extender kit, PE kit. All this is telling the Ecobee is
And this is at the.
This is at the thermostat. This is at the thermostat. All this is telling the Ecobee is we're using a power extender kit satisfied for my cooling and my fan. How this works now is through multiplex. So when we're calling for heat, it's going to pull 24 volts through the heating or the cooling wire, and when we're calling for cooling, it's going to pull 24 volts through the heating wire. It's essentially how we make that constant connection. If you have 5 wires already, you don't necessarily need one of these, but you can still use it and then just bypass that 5th wire, or bypass the power extender kit with that 5th wire to run one of the accessories. So again, if you can't run a wire for an accessory, but they want to control their humidifier off the thermostat, you can use that 5th wire and just run it as a 4-wire system with the power extender kit.
So you said the old one doesn't come with that, but is it the same?
It's very similar. It's not the exact same.
It does the same thing.
It does the same thing, but it doesn't look like this. And
But if you have one of those in already, does it still do the same thing?
no, it won't.
So you have to
Because
change it out.
you would have to change it if
Okay.
you're using a commercial thermostat. Yeah, because
Yeah.
the power extender kit thermostat, there's a component that goes in the equipment, and there's also a small, it looks like a jumper type thing that goes behind the thermostat.
Okay.
So it's different. 2-wire boilers. Won't go into too much detail on this, but if you guys do come across it, not compatible out of the box. We do need that 3rd wire to make the C connection, right? So if you can't run a wire, this is just kind of a suggestion that we provide. Transformer, making sure we get the 24 volts. You're going to need that regardless if it's not a 24-volt power source. And then a fast stat. If you guys are familiar with the fast stat, basically makes a common wire. It's an additional tool. It's about 20, 30, 40 bucks, depending on the version you buy. But this is the solution today. In the next couple months, we're coming out with a 2-wire power extender kit like this. Not going to come in every box. It's going to be sold separately, but it'll make Ecobee compatible without the additional hardware. Now into the accessories. So this is a humidifier or dehumidifier. That's the image you want to look at over there. If the humidifier is hooked in to the furnace control board and powered from the furnace, you only need 1 wire going up to that thermostat, right? If the humidifier is powered by an external source, not the furnace, you need 2 wires going up to the thermostat to close that dry contact. So close the circuit, allow it to operate. And very similar to the HRVs and ERVs. So HRVs and ERVs, you can have one or 2 wires going up to the thermostat. There's just one thing to note. So I don't know how involved you guys are with HRVs and ERVs, but if you run it how it shows there on the R and the D terminal from the ventilator, it's going to run the system into low speed because all we're doing here is closing a dry contact, right? If you're going to hook up a ventilator to this, we suggest hooking it up to the high-speed override terminals. Most of them are noted OL or OC. That will at least allow it to run in high speed rather than low speed when there's a call for the ventilator. With the humidifiers and dehumidifiers, you get all the same functionality as a humidistat plus more. The HRVs and ERVs, you gain some and you lose some. You lose the ability to control the fan speed to say, okay, operate 30%, 60%, but you can set things like how long do you want the HRV to run when I'm in the house, how long do you want it to run when I'm out of the house, optimize for humidity. So it's kind of a give and take on the ventilator side, or the humidifier side, you get the same functionality. Any questions on the accessories? No? 3 light, exact same. I'm going to skip over it. And now we're into that first run process. So at this point, thermostat snapped into the wall. It will take some time to calibrate like 5 minutes or so. I always suggest to bring the stat into the house with you when you start the job. Don't leave it in the car, especially in the winter, because it just takes longer to calibrate. So once you do snap it in the wall, first thing it's going to say is hi there. Then the next question it's going to ask you is what R wires do you have connected? RC only or RC and RH. Select whichever one. And then it's going to do an automatic wire detect. So This is right, I'm gonna say 95+% of the time. It can be wrong though, so if it is incorrect, it's gonna ask you, is this correct? You select no. It'll then ask you if you wanna change it. You select yes, modify, and then you can actually just tap on the screen of the thermostat on whichever terminals are actually connected, right?
Yeah, to PK.
Yeah, so this situation you don't need the PK because you have 5 wires, you have a C wire going right through everything. Yeah, exactly. So if it was wrong, select modify, and you literally just do this.
Yeah.
And it's connected. Then it's going to ask you if you have an accessory installed. If you don't, select no, obviously. If you do, there's going to be follow-up questions. So if it's a humidifier, it's going to say, is it evaporative, is it steam? What's your desired humidity in the house? So on and so forth. One quick thing to know with Ecobee is the equipment that you're working on is all the only questions you're going to see. So what I mean by that is if I tell the thermostat it's going to be a furnace based on the wiring diagrams that I've provided and the selecting furnace in the next step, you're never going to see questions about a boiler. If you say I have a humidifier, you're never going to see questions about a ventilator. So we just kind of remove those questions and remove those menu settings off the thermostat, so just to kind of remove some confusion, right? So then, is that accessory 1 or 2 wires going to the thermostat? Select whichever one. Then you're into more basic thermostat questions. So Fahrenheit or Celsius, furnace or boiler. How do you want the fan to be controlled? By the thermostat or by the equipment? We suggest by the thermostat just because you can decide how long you want the fan to run per hour. 5 to 55 minutes or permanently on.
Well, then the thermostat, if you don't want to put the heat on, the thermostat can turn the fan on and circulate air.
Exactly.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Then you're into naming it. So naming the Ecobee is actually pretty important, especially if you're going to use a voice control, because you do have to qualify its name. If you have more than one Alexa device in your account, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with, you have to qualify its name. You can't just say, Alexa, unlock the door, because it'll ask you which door and get confused, right? So you have to say, Alexa, turn my Ecobee to 22 degrees. So my message here is just pick something simple so it's not confused. Then you're into Wi-Fi connection. You guys are used to this. It's much like your phone or a computer. Find the network, type in the password, searches, and it connects.
So you can use your phone to send it password?
You can, exactly.
I
So, Apple only though.
That's all I use.
Won't work for Android. They limit it on their back end.
I don't like Android.
But it's very similar. I don't know if you guys have seen how iPhone shares passwords now, but if I come over to your house and I'm like, can I hook up to your Wi-Fi? If I go into the Wi-Fi setting, it'll actually send you an alert saying Rob's trying to connect to your Wi-Fi, shares passwords. Exactly. Same technology.
Yeah.
They go to their Wi-Fi networks. At the very bottom of their Wi-Fi networks, to say Ecobee, click into that, automatically pairs the Wi-Fi to the thermostat, and it's a permanent connection. So even if you leave the house, it's still connected.
Ooh.
Really added that in for homeowners that forget their password or something like that. A few more questions. What mode are you in? Heat, cooler, auto. Ideal temperature in the winter. Ideal temperature in the summer. Do you want that smart home, smart away turned on? Remember, that's overriding your schedule based on if you're in the house or not in the house.
That would work though. But easier when you don't have to touch it.
Exactly. I agree. I use it.
Hey, we're going to work, or hey, we're not going to work today, and then it'll just send you from there.
Mm-hmm. There's also geofencing, which you can use as well.
Oh, okay.
I personally like smart home, smart away better, my opinion. Canada, Toronto, and then it spits out this 4-digit code. So this code is really important because it allows you to pair the thermostat to the mobile app and the web portal, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so take a picture of this, write it on the box, save it for the homeowner in some capacity if you're not setting up the app with them right here, right now.
Well, it'd be easier just to set it up with them.
I agree, but if
Yeah.
they're not in the house or something like that, I don't know if you guys ever come across that, but in the HVAC channel, that's pretty common. They're not in the
Yeah.
house.
Yeah. Well, then as
They're
this,
usually
as
there.
this is going in, especially on new builds now, because you're not allowed to fire the furnace up until after
They test,
everything's
yeah.
done and painted and everything, right? So it'd just be easier to, as you're getting ready to fire it up, they're there and you walk through and then
100%.
at the end, you both walk away and they're controlling it.
Agreed,
Yeah.
1000%. That's definitely the best option, but if not, picture, write
Yeah,
it down.
yeah.
You can get it back if you hit finish and don't connect the app. Like you can call tech support, they can help you get it back, or you can do a soft reset of the registration and it'll walk you through a portion of what we just walked through. And you'll get it back, but it's extra work, right?
Mhm.
So picture is my suggestion. As you'll see, when they pull out the phone, they create a new account.
So can you set an account up on your phone for them and then have them log in and just delete it off your phone?
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
That works too.
Yeah, for sure. No, for sure it does. And then just have like a dummy password, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then when you give it to them,
They can
you
change
can
it.
change it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, perfect.
But simple: name, email, password.
Yeah.
It does a quick introduction of what homes are to Ecobee because you can have more than one home in the app.
You can home cottage,
Exactly.
whatever. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then it'll do an automatic location detection. Again, it's usually right, but it can be wrong. Like for example, my house, it was one house off. It said 16 rather than 18. So I had to make that quick change.
Okay.
Yes, I'm all set. Then it's going to ask you what you're installing. It's going to be a thermostat. I'll get into other products in a second. Is it installed? Yes, it's installed. And then it asks for that 4-digit code. Once you put that in, all systems go. Good to go. And then you don't have to do it for the web portal. It's done on the phone. It's good for the web portal and vice versa. One thing to note on the web portal, though, I'm not going to walk through all this because we just did it. This is the location detection on the web portal. And then if you want to use that Home IQ, so the reporting feature, you do have to come to the laptop or a tablet, a large screen for this to set it up. And you're going to have to answer some basic questions about the home or the space that the thermostat's in. So building size, the year, the age of the building style, and the number of floors. Right?
That works enough.
Guess not. And then with Alexa, so again, you guys are familiar with this, but you don't have to use an Amazon Prime account to control a thermostat. You can use a free Amazon account and still control it by voice and get their free offerings like radio. But Amazon Prime
You just link it, right?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Amazon Prime gets you everything. So there's going to be an Amazon logo on the mobile app and the computer. They'll say, do you want to connect to Amazon? Sign in to Amazon. Brings you right to your Amazon sign-in, and then once you're done there, you're good. You do have to download the Ecobee skill on the Alexa side, though. Right?
Yeah. Well, and then enable what skills you want it to be able to control. Yeah.
Exactly. And then you're good to go. You can start using the web portal just as you use the mobile app. Yeah.
So that'll work on an iPad.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right, so that's everything from the first run process. Now to quickly go into this simulator. All right, so looking at the face of the thermostat, we have a little logo up here. That's what mode you're in. We're in heating right now. You can actually click on it and change the mode. So maybe we change to cooling. Small percentage here is your humidity percentage. Large number is your temperature reading. Good to know that temperature reading is the average between all your room sensors that are engaged. The reason I say it's good to know is because I've had a number of occasions where customers call me saying my thermostat's broken, it's reading the wrong temperature. It's likely because they have a room sensor located in somewhere that's, offsetting the reading. For example, in the situation I'm talking about, she had the sensor sitting on a windowsill in the middle of the summer and the sun was just beaming in on it. So that sensor was reading like 77, whereas her other room was reading like 68 and showing the average between the two of them, which is why she was confused.
So don't put it in the window.
No, don't put it on a window and try to keep it away from like the TV and things like that, right?
Yeah. Okay, because you'll
Gives off heat.
too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And people ask me if I can carry the sensor around with me. Don't do that. Because your body has heat, right?
Yeah.
So don't do that. The dial.
Can you corner mount that wall one?
Yeah, you can. So
Okay.
the mount is like that. It's kind of on an angle. You're saying like in a thing like that.
Yeah.
You can. It needs to be on a flat surface though. So whether you want to put it, it's kind of you can, but you can't.
So kind of just angle it
Exactly.
and screw it so it's in the corner and then you set it in.
Exactly.
Okay. Because that'd probably be better because then it's going to be.
It has a
you
better
get like the whole
range of
room,
motion,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay, dial on the side is how you go up and down the temperature. Ecobees can go really hot and really cold. They can go to minus 23 and plus 49. So quite cold and quite warm. Certain applications call for it. Like I literally just met with a contractor. He's gonna start using Ecobees in all his wine cellars that he installs because it needs to be cold temperatures. Hot yoga studios, probably the preferred thermostat in the industry for hot yoga studios because they can set it to 95 and bottom right, you have the microphone. This is where you're just going to turn on and off Alexa. This gear here is pretty important. So it's called quick changes. You can come in here and say, I'm home for now, I'm away for now, if you don't have smart home, smart away turned on. This place here is the only place that you can add, you can turn on the fan permanently, right? So I hit on, and now the fan's going to just run.
Yeah, but if you're in the smart, it's just going to do it anyway.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So I can't see you using that. I can see only putting it on.
No, it's more for those customers that, to be honest, aren't too technology savvy, and they just want to use it as like their old type of thermostat, where they come in and turn it on, right?
Then there's no point.
Agreed. The little sun is your weather forecast. So Ecobee doesn't have outdoor weather sensors, so we pull it in through the closest weather tower, and we save a 5-day forecast every second, right? So if your Wi-Fi ever does drop out, at least you have a 5-day forecast to go off. It's not going to be perfect, but better than nothing. And then the bottom left is your system or your main menu. First option you have is your system. What mode am I in? How long I want that fan to run per hour? Again, 5 to 55 minutes. Because I have a humidifier on this one, I can set my humidity control. There's also a frost control setting. This setting will ensure that humidity stays within a certain parameter, which you set in the advanced settings, and ensures that condensation is not building up on windows. And then dehumidify using AC is just using the AC to dehumidify rather than sensors. So you saw the snapshot before. Unfortunately, I can't actually pair sensors to this. It just shows up as unavailable. But if you had them all, they would all have their own temperature reading. They would all say if they're unoccupied or occupied. This is where you turn on your smart home, smart away. This is where you enable or disable follow me. And then remember we talked about participation, turning on and off certain sensors. To do that, you actually click into these sensors and then select which part of my schedule is this thermostat going to be operating on, right? So you turn them off for all, you turn them on for certain ones, so on and so forth. Honestly, I always suggest, and I encourage you guys to give this a try in your places when you install this, have a room sensor in your bedroom for the sleep cycle of the schedule. Only have it focusing on the bedroom for the sleep cycle in your schedule, and it'll definitely be a lot more comfortable than what you guys are used to. Schedule. So this is the schedule it's going to come with out of the box. Again, like I said, really simple, but at least the customer will see energy savings even if they never change it. So home at 6:30 a.m., sleep at 11:30 p.m. If you're creating a schedule, you can add in new scheduled events on here. I highly suggest doing it on the computer or the mobile app. It's much easier on those two. But if you do it on here, what I do suggest is create one for one day of the week and then just copy it to all the other days of the week that you want the same schedule.
That's if you don't want to do the smart thing, right?
I was going to say, I suggest doing this. Set a schedule, save it to all the days of the week, and then turn on Smart Home, Smart Away, and then that will automatically adjust it based on if you're in the house or if you're not. And if not, it'll revert back to the schedule, right? If you're in the house, it'll revert back to the schedule. Comfort settings. So this is how you change the set point for each of your schedules events, right? Vacation, really simple. When I depart, when I return, in your settings for them. All this stuff can be done off the computer and the phone, of course. Reminders and alerts. So this is an important section, especially if you guys are going to take advantage of that contractor portal. Just to show you what those reminders look like if you were to push them out, to say reminder service call, right? Click into one. Contact the service contractor at this number, at this number, and it pulls up your logo as well. Okay? Furnace filter you were just asking about, come in here, you say, okay, I've changed the filter, and then it now knows that on this date, I've changed the filter, and in my advanced settings, for the reminders and alerts, come into preferences, and you'll see that my furnace filter was changed today, or on December, it thinks it's December 9th, but on December 9th, 3 months, and then you'll see next one due March 9th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same goes for HVAC maintenance, exact same thing. Humidifier filter, same thing. UV lamp, same thing. UV lamp and humidifier filter, you can actually do it based on the number of months, but also the runtime. Low temp, high temp alerts, those can all be adjusted. This is what it comes with out of the box. I would maybe turn this a little bit lower, 16 is not that low. These aux settings, these are for heat pumps. So if you're working on a heat pump, the one thing that I highly suggest is to come into the preferences and change the aux heat pump runtime. So in our region, in Canada really overall, the heat pump is probably going to run for a good chunk of the time because it's too cold for the actual heat pump to run, right? So if you want the aux heat running more than the 3 hours that it comes with out of the box, I suggest coming in here, turning it up all the way to 8, or just disabling this alert. All this alert's going to do is it's not going to turn on or off any heating or cooling, but it's going to tell the homeowner, your aux heat has been running for 3 hours during the day. We're going to turn this off and we're going to go back to the heat pump. We just have energy savings in mind, so that's what that setting's for. But we don't want to concern anybody in this market, so we just say, you know what, turn it up to 8 hours, allow it to run for 8 hours. It'll never really get there, and they'll never get there. Low humidity, high humidity, same as low temp, high temp. And then these two, they both come on out of the box. And then I can just show you what an alert looks like. They're all saved there. So you know what's going on, or the history of what's happened. Oops. Now settings, getting a little bit into the nitty gritty here. So preferences, these are basic thermostat preferences like your heating and cooling range. So if you're working on a hot yoga studio by any chance and you can't seem to get it up to that temperature that we talked about, that 95 degrees, you have to come in here and adjust the heating and cooling range.
Well, so you can set it so that it won't go under or over a certain amount.
Exactly. So in a commercial setting for you guys too, if you don't want the employees to mess with it, you can set up a 4-digit passcode, but allow them to just still change the temperature within the setting. Exactly. These are really basic. Like you can change the device name. You can have Alexa make sounds when you talk to it, like beeping and things like that. Screen brightness, standby timer, how long it's going to last. Hold action is important. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but when I turned on the fan, it said fan on and holding. That's because I have the hold lasting until I change it. You can have the fan or the hold last for 2 hours, 4 hours until my next scheduled activity or a specific time. Heating smart recovery, cooling smart recovery, all of those are in place for is to ensure that if my schedule says I want it to be 22 degrees by 7 p.m., that's going to make sure that it is 22 degrees by 7 p.m., not start going to 22 degrees at 7 p.m., right? More and more thermostats are coming with those settings. They're automatically on out of the box, so nothing to worry there. Wi-Fi, this is where you can reconnect to your Wi-Fi. Installation settings is the real details, the advanced settings on your Ecobee. This is the stuff that's strictly available at the thermostat. It's not available on the phone or the computer. So if I go into equipment, I can take a look at my wiring. Here we have a heat pump with an accessory. Click into the heat pump, change the type of it. What does the OB valve energize on, heating or cooling? And then do I want my aux heat to run at the same time or my emergency heat to run at the same time as my heat pump? Yes or no? Furnace, how do you want the fan to be controlled? That's all you can edit here. And then humidifier, you can change the type. The minimum runtime delta is important for the humidifier because it reduces short cycling. So you say 5% delta, therefore we're going to allow the humidifier to run 5% past my set point to, again, reduce the chance of short cycling. And then window efficiency is just setting the parameters at which you're going to allow the humidity to be at to eliminate the condensation being built up on the window. That has to do with that frost control, right? So right now, I'm allowing 35% humidity when the outdoor temperature is between -11 and -22. Or in +22. And then reconfigure equipment. If you made a mistake on the installation, this is where you can do it rather than resetting the whole step. Then going into thresholds, almost done here, guys. And so first thing to note, if you're using auto mode, you do need a delta between heating and cooling. It's about, the lowest you can go is 1.1 degrees, so you can get pretty close. Then you have the configuration. So configure staging out of the box is going to come automatic. That's going to allow the furnace or the AC to do the staging for you. Most customers are going to be more than happy with that. But you can come in here and turn on manual. If I do that and then scroll down to the bottom here, starting at compressor stage 2 temperature delta, all the way down until aux stage 1 max runtime. That allows you to go from stage 1 to 2 to emergency heat based on your runtime and based on temperature difference. So you can say first 5 minutes be in stage 1, second 5 minutes be in stage 2, third 5 minutes go to my emergency heat. Same thing with temperature delta. When I'm 3 degrees away, go in stage 1. When I'm 2 degrees away, be in stage 2. When I'm 1 degree away, be in my emergency heat. So you can get pretty customized with it. But for most customers, I would say they'd be happy with the automatic setting. Right?
Oh, yeah. You don't have to get into this.
No,
details.
no.
It's nice you can do it. Right? For
sure, for sure. To be honest, a lot of the people that are using those settings are HVAC guys that have it in their own house, and they like playing with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Couple things that are interesting settings on here. Compressor min off cycle and compressor minimum outdoor temperature. You can technically save on parts on the furnace. This doesn't really have anything to do with you guys, but just allows the compressor to turn off for a minimum period, and then won't allow the compressor to run. won't allow the compressor to run under a certain temperature. AC overcool max. That is allowing the AC to dehumidify in the space. So you basically say, okay, I'm going to allow my AC to run 1.1 past my set point to dehumidify the space. And then heating and cooling dissipation times are important. It just allows the fan to run for X amount of seconds after a heating and cooling call to remove all the hot or cold air out of the ductwork. And then those are all the staging settings. And then at the bottom, I like touching on this stuff. So temperature correction, humidity correction. I mean, you can use it for those pesky customers. I don't suggest it for that. I more make a joke of it and call it the husband or wife preventative tactic, right? If you like it at 22 and she likes it at 24, set the set point, set the temperature correction for 2 degrees. It'll read 22, but it'll read 24, but it'll actually be 22. That's like if you want to build your relationship off lies and deceit, that's the way to start it. If you want to be honest, you just set up a 4-digit passcode and you say, I'm sorry, but you're just not getting access to the thermostat, and that's just the way it is. So you can be honest or lie. We give you the options. Thermal protect, really important. So I actually suggest turning this on all the time because it comes disabled out of the box. I say come on and put it to 5.6 degrees. What that's used for is if any of your room sensors are too hot or too cold compared to your set point by 5.6 degrees, it's going to completely ignore that sensor, so you're not ridiculously overheating or overcooling your house. So I suggest turning that on all the time. Most homes don't have a 5.5 degree temperature swing from place to place, but it's a great, it's kind of a safe thing to put in. The only place you'll see it is at the basement, potentially.
Or the fireplace.
Or I guess fireplace.
Yeah.
Okay. I wouldn't put a sensor in a room with a fireplace just because that'll happen. Right?
What's the installer code lock?
Good question. Installer code is simply to eliminate the homeowner from even having access to these settings at the thermostat. It's a universal lockout code. I can get that for you guys. I forget what it is off the top of my head.
So it's not like we go in and set our code.
No, it's a universal Ecobee lockout code. which the homeowner can't really get unless they call tech support and ask for it. But that's what that is.
Oh, we can set our own installed code.
No, it's a standard code. It's like
Oh.
6731, something like that.
Well, there's no point in putting it in if you're going to give it to them.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't give it to them.
Yeah.
If they call you and you give it to them, then
They're probably just gonna lie. They're gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm the installer of this Ecobee, blah blah blah.
yeah.
Get it back. We can't like if they own the equipment, you can't really lock them out of their own device that they own, right? It's illegal to do that. But that's what that is. It's a 4-digit code. Reason we kept it the same is, I guess, to simplify things on your end. Whereas if you're working on a bunch of Ecobees, it's the same code for everyone. But agreed, it would be nice if you could just have your own installer code.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if, like, a lot of us are security integrators as well. We use our security install code for different things. I mean, they own their security equipment, but
But you still have that.
that doesn't mean we want them in there messing around with it.
Fair enough. You know what? Like I said, this is a new space for us, so I honestly think that's a great suggestion to be able to edit that yourself. And are those codes different based on the different systems?
Well, no, I mean, he'll have his secure installer code, and we'll have our installer code, and he'll have his installer
Okay.
code.
Okay.
It's a code that's unique to us,
Mhm.
that we set. But, I mean, are there ways around it? Yep, there are, but they're not fun to do,
Yeah.
and,
Just basically what you're trying to say is it protects from a third person. Let's say one of your clients' relative. That's the same thing, but in a different place, right?
Yeah.
He or she cannot go in and mess with the settings. Where
Makes sense.
now these guys are stuck with, oh my god, what the hell happened here, right?
What
how
did
did
they
get a phone call from the customer
Yeah.
on,
Nothing
this
works.
happened, and,
Yeah.
this thermostat you put in doesn't work. No, nobody's touched it. Oh, bullshit, nobody's touched it.
Yeah.
No, that's a great suggestion. Honestly, I think it makes a lot of sense. So appreciate it. I'll pass that along to the product team, and hopefully we get that changed.
And, I mean, having options for settings and different things is a great idea. I mean, it clearly does a lot. But once you've gone through and you've set it up,
You don't want others to
it's
change.
all the same thing.
For access to this, call this company.
Don't,
Yeah.
don't touch it. If you try to get into something continuously, have a message pop up that says contact your installer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it does do with the code, but I agree.
Yeah,
If you guys can have your own, 100%. So if we change that, I'll get you royalties, no problem. All right, last couple of things here, guys. So just in your settings, the access control, like I talked about, you can set up a 4-digit security code. Yeah, it's a nice one. You have a reset down here. There's different levels. You can reset registration, which just basically gets you that 4-digit code back. Reset your schedule and your preferences. Disconnect
The reset registration gets you the 4-digit code back for
for putting.
that you're going to put in?
Yeah, for the
Okay.
mobile app. Remember that code?
Oh, okay, when
Yeah.
you first,
Yeah, when you
okay,
first install it.
Okay.
And
Also,
then-
you can go and get it again.
For
Okay.
sure. And then reset all is just a factory reset.
Oh, that's a bad button.
I hear you.
If you had the installer code activated on this, would it still allow you to do that?
Yeah, the only thing that's going to lock out is your installation settings. It would
Oh,
still allow you to reset all.
so get rid of that.
Started from scratch.
If somebody comes here, they just reset everything, they just do the.
I don't know what I did.
Restart.
I hit a button. Ah, shit.
Fair enough.
You don't know how many times that's happened and stuff.
Really, eh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everything's off.
So you know what? Like we're learning, right? Like I said, we're new
Yeah.
to your space, so there's things that we haven't really been an issue for us in the past that could be here. So good to know. And then just about is the last thing. So I always say, just so you guys are getting less calls, tell the homeowner there's a support number right on their thermostat. They just go to about support, phone number, and email to our technical support.
Perfect. That's a nice feature.
For sure. And then they also have, if you're using that contractor portal, this is where your information would be saved on the thermostat as well. One quick thing on tech support. On the bottom of those sheets that I gave you, because they're the pro sheets and not the retail sheets, and they're also on all the boxes that you guys would get from ADI, there's a 1866 tech support number. That's different from our homeowner tech support. That's a pro-specific number. Shorter line, more experience at a tech, so they should answer the phone quicker and answer more effectively.
Perfect.
But as you can see on here, it's a 1877 number, right? Different number, different line. So I always just suggest the number on the bottom there or on the boxes. You're good to go. But other than that, that is Ecobee in an hour and a half nutshell.
So, a couple of quick questions.
For sure.
You said retail on the, which one is 369?
So 329.
320?
Yeah, 329 and 219.
Okay, so which one of the big box, how many of the big box stores are carrying them?
Home Depot, Lowe's, Best Buy, Canadian Tire.
Okay, and our cost here from ADI is?
I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to say something that's wrong, but it's probably going to be somewhere in the 270 to 285 range.
Okay, so what are we doing when Best Buy puts them on below our cost?
So if you want to let me know, you definitely can. I'll make sure to speak to the retail team and see if we can get a buy. If they're running a promotion, sometimes there's not much we can do on that front. Like, there's going to be promotions in this channel as well. If it's an Ecobee driven promotion, see one in retail, there will be one in our channel as well, whether it's at the same time or maybe the next month or something like that. We do offset the Ecobee driven promotions. That said, like, there's times where Home Depot will be like, $20 off your Ecobees or $20 off all smart devices for the next week. Sometimes we don't know they're even going to do that, and that's the only time that you're really going to see without knowing or without having an offset.
Because realistically in our space, that's a really slim margin.
20, you can make 20 points on these stuff, right?
Yeah. Realistically in our space, that's a really slim margin.
Yeah.
So when the big box stores put their specials or their promos on, and we got 2 or 3 of them sitting in stock, we're looking pretty stupid.
Mhm.
That, I mean, we dropped other products for that very reason.
I don't want to see these on Amazon for $100.
No, they won't be. No, Amazon is one that you have to really worry about not very much at all because they don't run very many promos.
Be surprised what you can find on there though, man.
Yeah, people reselling, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, and not even that, but just amount of bulk speakers and stuff that you get here, and everybody's like, oh, well, I can get those here for this.
Yeah.
So
you can't even buy them from that.
Do you
right?
guys have a minimum?
Advertised price?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. 329 and 219. But if they're running a promotion, it is an exception. They're allowed to run promotions.
They notify you of that though?
Most of them, yeah. But there are some that we don't get notified on. Those are, at that point, I go to my retail team and I say, guys, you need to figure this out and let us know when it's going on. But it's something that I work on constantly. We've dealt with it in the HVAC channel for a long time as well. Going into retail was a bad thing and a good thing for us because it grew the awareness of the Wi-Fi thermostat space.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, just to give you some background on Ecobee, and I'll let you guys go shortly, but we came out in the pro channel only. And then when Nest came out, they went right into the retail channel only. When they did that, we were getting killed because no one knew who Ecobee was and everybody wanted Nest.
Yeah.
So at that point, we said we have to enter the retail space to grow the brand awareness. And it really has helped us since then. But it's 100% a fair point, right? Like, we do have a fine margin because we're in retail, but I can definitely promise you that I am personally monitoring that MAP pricing all the time. If you guys see something, let me know, and I can work on getting it back up or getting you guys a promotion in this space as well.
I mean, I won't speak for everybody else, but I know Nest, or ADI just lost all our Nest business because, I bought a Nest thermostat back in the fall and paid our cost for it, and 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, Best Buy had them on sale for $50 under my cost. And when I called them, they said, or when I called ADI, they said, yeah, sucks to be you. Sorry about that. and I mean, so we're
not doing it.
We're done with it. We're done with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's why we're here. But if we run into the same problem with this, we're done with it. It's like, you know what? Go buy it at Best Buy. I don't even want to talk to you.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
You pay us to install it. That's what you go buy.
Yeah, no, I hear you. it's a bit of a tough spot too, because like most thermostats now are both in retail and the pro channel. But most, there are some that aren't. But like I said, we try our best to keep it. If you guys run into problems, let me know. I don't anticipate it happening too often, if it even does happen at all. But we monitor that. We're very conscious of it and try to eliminate that issue.
Okay, I have a question. I have 3 customers. They have Ecobee 3.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I sell them to the Ecobee Pro?
Well, first of all, do they have any room sensors in their house?
No.
Okay, so this is a big one. If they have any hot or cold spots in their house, they may want to look into some of these room sensors, right?
Okay.
You can sell them, you can upsell them just on room sensors that will pair up to their thermostats. They're about $100 for 2.
Okay.
So that's one upsell. Also, this one has Alexa built into it, right? The Ecobee 3 does not have Alexa built into it.
Okay.
Voice control.
So yeah, you can you can tell them, look, if you go with the new Ecobee, you can now control your thermostat through voice. Microphone at the top, speaker at the bottom. Play music out of it and do all those things right off the thermostat. They don't need to buy a separate home assistant.
Well, and if they have Alexa already, they can just, anywhere they are, they can say, turn it up to whatever, right? So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do they?
Yeah.
So yeah, they could. This
Because
is,
all my customers have installed the Amazon Alexa.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because I use for the control for the sonar,
Mhm.
control for the the room doorbell, and some camera system.
Okay.
So all the music system, all the camera system, some lighting control. So I do the Lutron, so they can
Yeah.
do the lighting control.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I can make one platform.
For sure, for sure. So you could just add this on as another speaker into that Alexa ecosystem that they
Yeah.
already have created. Also, another thing that this one can do that the 3 Lite can't is control an accessory. So if they have a humidifier in their house or something like that, and they want to get rid of that humidistat that's on the wall and kind of ugly, or in the furnace room and not really doing a great job because it's collecting humidity from down there, you can hook the humidifier up to this thermostat.
Oh,
So that's another way that you can upsell them. Those are really the 3 core things. Has Alexa built into it, has a room sensor in the box,
Okay.
and then you can control one of the accessories from it as well.
Does a lot more than
It does.
Just got a question for you.
Yeah.
Let's say a client has the basement made, but they do have a humidifier downstairs. So how do you run the wire?
So that's where, if they have 5 wires already, I say use a power extender kit because it'll free up that 5th wire, and then you can run it using that wire.
Old house, how many has 4 wires?
So there's really no way. You have to, or you hook up the thermostat in the basement. You could do that, right? And they control everything off their phone, but then at that point, it's still collecting humidity from the basement.
So back to his question.
Yeah, but then you're using your sensors.
They don't collect humidity though, they're just temperature and occupancy.
Oh, okay, so even if you turn the sensor on that off, it's still not.
Exactly, the humidity is still gonna come through the thermostat.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have
We don't have
another
humidity.
sensor to throw? Oh,
Not yet.
that's something.
That's my answer, not yet.
Yeah.
So, you know how, I don't know if the government programs all work, but how does the government programs work where they give you free thermostats? Does that still apply?
They're gone now, actually. They took them all away, which that has nothing to do with me either. That's our energy team. That's the 3rd leg of our sales team. But yeah, all the energy incentivized programs where they're giving away thermostats for free are gone.
Okay, perfect.
Mr. Ford was to thank for.
But I know they will come back for sure.
Oh, for sure they
But I'm
will.
saying, like, in that case, what happens? Let's say, how does it work for us then?
If they have a stat installed or something like that. It depends on the program. There was one program at one point where the utility was actually controlling the thermostat. At that point, yeah, I know, right? And monitoring it and collecting data from the customers. The customer had to sign up for that when they were coming around asking if you want a free thermostat. But I think at that point you would kind of, I don't know, I would stay away from the thermostat at that point.
Anybody that comes to my door gets a door in the face.
Yeah.
Go away.
But yeah, did you have any other specific situations outside of that one? Because that's the only one I'm really aware of that I think could have a negative impact, is when they're actually controlling thermostat and monitoring it.
Because 90% of my family are like, oh, I got a free one from these guys. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's fine. But the question is, for example, let's say the government, because it specifically says that to get the thermostat, it has to be a certified HVAC tech. Now, we install it, but we're not certified to do it. So,
Or like you're saying like a rebate or something like
Yeah.
that? Again, the rebates are no longer around. There is one rebate still on from Enbridge, $75, but it's strict. Yeah, I hate this, but it's strictly available on our website. The reason for that is because they used to do a post-purchase rebate for the Pro channel. It was taking them 6 to 8 months to administer the rebate, so they actually dropped the program altogether. That's something I'm constantly working on again to try to get back. I've met with Enbridge like 5 times on this. They don't have a solution right now.
So the Nest rebate is still, it is still on a commercial level, not available on the website. Not just available on the website. You buy your Nest thermostat at Home Depot and you're eligible for that rebate, you're good to go.
Okay.
So
Even if you were to buy your Nest here, can you still apply for that rebate? Do you know?
I don't know, I dumped Nest here. I haven't even looked at it in
Fair.
months.
Fair. So that's where I could see it not being available, because what they told me is that anybody who doesn't collect serial numbers is the reason that they can't do a point of purchase rebate, which most of our distributors do not. So that's why they took the program away. That's what I was told directly from them.
Good question. So let's say we're having a family party, and always that happens where I tell my family to listen. An hour before someone comes, please tell me because I can turn the furnace off. So by the time, so someone needs to turn the furnace off. My temperature is at 22, and I look at them and I'm saying 27, 28. So with the new sensors, let's say would that actually help keep the
The space cool?
yeah.
No, I mean, like, it would, but it wouldn't. It's going to work as a regular thermostat, right? It's going to say, okay, it's 27 degrees in here, even though my set point is 22 degrees. If your thermostat's set on heat, it can't automatically cool the space, right?
Let's say the temperature is set at 22, but the room temperature itself is sitting at 27. It's not gonna, the furnace will not turn back on again until the room temperature and things are matched up.
Exactly. So let's say set point is 22 degrees. Let's say set point is 22 degrees, right? Room sensor is at 25. Your main floor, which is upstairs, let's say, your main floor is at 22 degrees. It's not going to continue to call for heat because the main floor, or because that room sensor is off, right? It's just going to not call for any heat until that room sensor temperature drops and then averages back up. That's where that setting comes in with that 5.5 or 5.6 degrees. Because this way, if that room sensor does get like 7 degrees warmer, it'll just ignore that room sensor and then therefore the house will stay more.
Because the fact that the sensor is upstairs in the bedroom, and the upstairs is cold, but the downstairs is extremely hot. Would it kick in the heat just because of the upstairs, or because the main floor is?
It could. It all depends on like what your set point is and what it's averaging out to. So again, if your set point is 22 degrees and the upstairs is 28 degrees, but the downstairs is 18, if that average is not at 22 degrees, then yeah, it may kick on the heat to bring the main floor up. It's going to make the upstairs too hot, right?
Yeah.
That's where that thermal protect setting comes into play. All right, let me give you guys a thermostat so you can